We are going to be talking all about how to manage your money as a woman. So, what is the difference between the genders when it comes to finances, money, and wealth? Well, turns out there's actually quite a bit. How do I know? Because I am a woman, point blank. Number two, because I've been in the world of finance for almost 20 years and working with all shapes and sizes, all races and genders, and all backgrounds. And if there's one thing that I know, it is this that the world of finance, the world of money is generally full of men. And as a result, the types of advice that women get is hard to come by, especially when it comes to other women. Now, there's definitely some biases in place, 100%. We're not going to get into that today. But the truth is that most women are actually better investors, better money managers, but they don't have the necessary tools because most men, and I am broad brushing a little bit here, but the industry as a whole is not very female friendly, is not very applicable to what women go through. And there's a lot of there, dear, when we come to the table to ask questions, to clarify, to gain understanding, to gain wisdom, and to ensure that we have the tools and the skills necessary, the language of money necessary in order to have meaningful dialogue and conversation. So if you've ever gone to a financial advisor and been made to feel small because you're a woman, if you've ever gone to somebody to talk about money and been made to feel uncomfortable, this is the video for you. Okay. So my name is Susan McVeigh. I'm a business sales strategist and I help mostly female entrepreneurs just like you sell with more ease without the sleaze so that you can make more income, more impact, and more importantly, be able to live your life of freedom and flexibility. So this is a money series that I'm doing with short bite-sized topics to break down financial concepts and ideas, principles in order to help you learn the language of money. So there's three things that I want you to realize. Okay. Number one, your money does not define you. That's a bonus. So when we talk about money management, there's a few different components, and we'll get to that in point number three. So you're going to want to stick around to the very end. But the most important thing, whether you're a man or a woman, is that consistency matters. Consistency matters. So the habits and the routines that you have around your money and how you manage money, money management is really about discipline. It's about the habits and the routines that you have in place that are going to allow you to reach your money goals. Now, I'm not going to break down for you in this episode or this video, like how to create your money goals. Go back and find the video. I might be able to link it, but right now, go back and look at the one about what it means to create financial freedom, because that will help you to get started. For right now, if you're here, I want you to think about how consistent are you with your money? Do you look at your money or do you avoid it? Do you review your bills or do you run and hide? Do you let the inbox pile up, so to speak, whether you're getting, paper bills or digital bills, like anything that has to do with your money management? Are you avoiding or are you proactive? And how regularly do you review these things? Now, I'm not going to tell you need to look at your money every single day. I actually think that for some people, it causes more anxiety, more overwhelm, and more frustration. But it is important that the intention by which you are looking at some of these things and the activities that you're generating as a result to manage your money is done from a place of control, of power, of ease, of grace, of peace. Okay. If you're doing it frantically and doing it every single day, that consistency is a little haywire. So consistency matters because it leads into number two, which is I want you to get started as soon as you can. Now, this is not the opportunity for you to go, it's too late for me. It does not matter where you are right now, but what matters the most, just like the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time is right now, right? If you want to have a tree, you can't avoid planting the tree, like the seed or the sapling, and starting right where you are. It's the same thing with your money management. You can't get better at managing your money if you never get started. And if you continue to avoid it because you're worried or concerned or it gives you anxiety or you don't have the skill set, that's really not an excuse for you continuing to put it off. If you're here right now, there's a good chance that you know that this is something that you need to get better at, or that you need to tighten up on, or that you would like to improve. Either way, start where you are. Okay. So this is why in this particular video, I can't go into the nitty gritty details because I don't know where you are and I don't know what's going on for you. So if you need some specific help, if you have specific questions, please make sure you post them below because I will create videos based off of your questions. If you were already connected, send me an email, send me a message, do whatever you got to do depending on the nature of your inquiry. So number 2 is get started as soon as you can. Now, here's the reason why this is so important for women in particular. The earlier you can begin, the better off you are. Now, we all know the power of compounding. I'm not going to go into it in this video. If you don't, just Google it. I might come back and do a separate video on this topic. But the reason why getting started as early as you can is so critical for women, that's you and me, is because women have, on average, a higher life expectancy. And that means, my friend, that you need to be able to manage your money for a lot longer than your male counterpart, whether that's your partner, your spouse, a business partner, a friend, your brother, your dad, whoever, okay? If you don't learn the skill, if you don't get into the habit and the routine of what it means for you to manage your money in a way that feels congruent, aligned, and easy for you, then the longer you put it off, the more challenging and difficult it will become because you live for longer. Women live longer than men. Your money needs to last longer. And that means that no matter where you are today, if you continue to avoid it, it won't get any better. It will actually just compound on the other end. So don't bemoan what you've done before or what you haven't done before. That's like crying over spilt milk. We don't cry over the spilt milk. We just clean it up and move on. Okay. That's what we need to do when we're managing our money. We can't say that all the things that we've done in the past are the exact behaviors that we're going to carry forward into the future either, because that may or may not be true. But if you're here right now, it's because I know that you want to learn the skills, you want to gain an understanding, that you want to get better at what it is that you're doing around your money so that you are a good steward, you're a good manager, you are a good, you have the skills, the capabilities, right? And I know that you are able to do it. You just may not have had the opportunity to do it before because of all the reasons that I shared at the very beginning. I mean, the industry is rife with a lot of people making a lot of women feel very bad about their money choices. I'm not here to give you guilt or shame or judgment around whatever you have spent your money on. Let it go. It's in the past. And if you have made the decision that you would like to make changes to your choices because you feel trapped by them, then this is the reason why you're here. So consistency matters, number 1. Number 2, get started as soon as you can. And that could mean today. So here's the homework, because I like to give you action steps as we go along so that you can actually implement this, right? What's the point in learning something if you actually don't execute? Because that's not really learning. That's just you wasting time because you're listening to a whole bunch of information that's going in and going out. And I know that if you're here, you actually want tools from people like me that will help to arm you with the resources, with something that you can take and implement. So I want you to look at, where are you lacking consistency with your money? And more importantly, why? Why? Okay. Number 2, for this second piece is I want you to look at what can you get started on today? Does that mean that you open up your mobile bank account, like your online banking? Does it mean that you actually go and check your statement? Does it mean that you review when your next payday is? Does it mean that you look at your credit card bill? Does it mean that you look at what you've invested in? Does it mean that you look at your company investment account, right? Like whether you're through a group RSP or a 401k or a Roth IRA or whatever is the equivalent where you live. I want you to pick something that you can look at and get started on that will make you feel like you're moving towards becoming a better money manager. Because point number 3, okay? Number 3, managing money is a multi-layered approach. It's a multi-pronged component. And that's often why when you Google how to manage your money, you literally are going to get a whole bunch of choices, like piles and piles and piles of video. So how do you weed through all of that? I'm going to give you the tip here, okay? Money management according to my standard, my definition, yours might be different. There's 4 buckets. Okay, there's 4 buckets. It's making money, because if you don't make any, then you don't have anything to manage. Okay, so that's the starting point. You either have a job or a business or something that generates income. It doesn't have to be something that you're physically doing work for or creating anything for. It could be where you have invested in other things and that is producing income. So number 1 is making money. Okay, so if you identify that, let me just go through all 4 first. Making money, number 1. Number 2 is managing your money. It's the movement and the flow of money from where it comes in to all the places that it needs to go. I like to call this assigning your money. Now, typically we assign it after the fact, or we've spent it before we even got it. And depending on where you're putting that money, that may or may not be okay, like helping you to get closer to your goals. But if you've already spent your money on things, material objects, or worse, before it actually comes into your bank accounts, then this is going to be the number 1 area that you want to take a look at around your money management, because it's the reason why you don't have anything left at the end of the day. Okay. So managing your money is the movement of money from in to out, from in to out. And out doesn't mean out the door. It can mean to the places that you have assigned it. Okay. That's number 2. Number 3 is spending your money. Now you might be thinking, huh? Like, I have no problem with spending my money, Susan. Listen, most of us don't. Most of us actually aren't taught how to spend money. But if you remember the A Christmas Carol, Scrooge was miserly and never spent his money. So hoarding your money is actually not a good thing either. I believe in generosity, and I believe that we are given the gift of money. We are earning the gift of money to gift to ourselves, to gift to our children and everybody else around us that we would love to be able to help and support, but more importantly, to be able to pay it forward, right? Like money needs to flow. So as a result, if we hoard anything, we come from a place of lack and scarcity. And that means money management becomes really, really tight. Okay. Because you're going to hold on to everything. And that means that you might miss opportunities to be able to make more money, to manage your money more appropriately. And the last part, which is number 4, which is growing and investing your money. So I put those in the same kind of bucket, because if you already have money and now you're trying to figure out where do I put it so that it grows, you are probably going to be investing. This is a step up from saving. Saving, I use in managing. I would also put credit under managing. Okay. So growing and investing your money is a different level of how you think about your money. And a lot of people don't get to that point. They do making, managing, they kind of spend haphazardly, and they never get to this 4th bucket. I want us, women in particular, because women actually make excellent investors because they love to learn. Now, again, I'm painting some broad brushes here. I recognize this. But because women traditionally have not been well educated around money, I mean, who has? But women in particular, there's parts of the world now where girls don't get to go to school. Girls don't get the good jobs, right? Girls have to stay home and take care of their family, whether it's younger siblings or their parents or their grandparents. And so they miss out on a lot of opportunities that are connected to money, that are connected to enterprise. And this is the history of where we come from as a society, because we can't have a first world and a third world not operating in the same way. The reason why we're first world is because we have developed beyond some of these things. But if we look back through history, we all came from the same roots. Does this make sense? So as a result, this is the reason why I'm doing this video specifically for women, even though I've helped men and women. As a woman and as a mother of a daughter, empowering more women to have more wealth and more financial acumen is really important to me because I have it and I've grown a career doing it. And now in the world of sales, what's the point in selling more and building a successful business if you're constantly working harder and harder and harder because you don't know how to keep that money once you have the money? Does this make sense? And so if you're working hard because you do have a business, because you are a successful entrepreneur, but you realize like, oh my gosh, every time I launch, I don't have anything left over. Every time I launch, I don't have anything left over. And you couldn't escape the hamster wheel of having to make money that you're not actively involved in. And I know the buzzword, which I have avoided in this video, the passive income, and we might talk about it in an upcoming video. If you don't know how to manage your money, you are constantly going to be, it's going to go. It's just going to go. And I've seen it time and time and time again, right? Because these 4 buckets are extremely critical. And if you don't identify your biggest gap, so that's the homework piece now. I want you to take a look at making money, managing your money, spending your money, or growing/investing your money. Which area are you feeling like you don't have a firm handle on? And maybe it's all of them, but I want you to pick the one because they kind of flow together. Okay. You need to make money in order to be able to manage your money. You need to be able to manage your money in order to be able to know how to spend your money. And once you have those 3 buckets, then you kind of know, okay, I need to grow and invest my money. Actually, I'm going to put a caveat. Making your money and then growing and investing your money, those should go 1 and 2. The reason why growing and investing your money is at the end is because that's usually where people put it at. You don't pay yourself first. So you work super hard in your business or your career. And unfortunately, you're working hard to pay everybody else. Does that sound familiar? You're paying all your bills. You're putting money into all of these things. You're spending your money to, buy food and pay for your homes, run your cars. These are all important. I get it. This is me too. But when we really consider, if you're not having some kind of a saving or investing plan, if you don't keep any of your own money, and if you're not keeping enough of it, essentially you're working so that you keep 10 to 20%. Because most people are not saving or investing beyond 20%. Most people aren't even doing that amount. Again, how do I know? Because this is the life that I've had. Teaching, helping people do exactly this. So I have real life evidence, experience in being able to see what people say and more importantly, what they do, right? Because we can say a lot of things, but not follow through. So the 3 things that we need to understand in order to manage our money as a woman. Number 1, consistency matters. Managing your money is a discipline. It's all about habits and routines. And here's the great part, bonus. If you can be consistent in anything, doesn't matter what it is, okay? That level of consistency can still be applied to your money. And if you're not able to do it, today, your biggest homework is going to be what's getting in the way. It could be a limiting belief. It could be a pattern. It could be a thought or a belief. It could be something that you're saying about yourself. It could be something that somebody else has said about you. It could be a situation or a memory that has triggered you and literally blocked you from feeling like you are equipped to do what you need to do around your money. It could be a pattern of behavior that has been passed down through generations even, right? It could be where you're living, that this is just not something that we do in your community, whatever, insert whatever it is. Okay. But again, the great news is if you have been consistent in anything, if you can get to work every single day, you're consistent. If you can show up for your clients in your business, you're consistent. So I guarantee you that you are consistent in something. You're consistent in something that matters to you. And if you flip the switch and you realize, do you actually like, is money important to you? And sometimes it is important, but there's other things in the way that make us feel like we can't have the money that we desire or the level of money that we desire. If that resonates with you, go and watch my video from yesterday, which is all about creating financial freedom. Okay, because that will help you. So if you can be consistent in one thing, you can be consistent in multiple things. It's just a matter of your desire and your motivation, your belief, and that can be changed. Number 2, get started as soon as you can. Women live longer. On average, women live longer. Look at your life expectancy for your family. Genetically, how do you have long life as one of your blessings, right? Is that something that runs in your family? And if it does, then it doesn't matter what age you are, you need to get started. Use time, use the power of time and the power of compounding to help you move further along. And if you're later in life, now I'm in my late 40s, 47 to be exact, it does not matter. I have clients who are in their 50s and they had to restart. And if you don't start, you're not going to get to where you want to be. So start now, start where you are and just get going, okay? Because consistency matters. Number 3, you're going to identify your biggest gap around the 4 buckets of money management: making, managing, spending, growing / investing. Okay. I want you to let go of the past. I want you to stop punishing yourself for what you've done before or what you're doing today. I want you to be able to identify the areas that you need help and support. I want you to start learning the language so that you can ask better questions, so that you can get educated, because half the battle is knowing what to ask and understanding the answers that come back to you. So the reason why I gave you those 4 at the very end around identifying your biggest gap is because if you now realize, shucks, I'm going to need some help around those, like actually managing my money, because I didn't realize money management is not just one big thing, it's multiple things. Then you need to look at what would be the biggest lever. What would be the biggest domino? What would help you to create the most amount of margin and peace around your money management? Is it making more money? Is it helping you manage your money, right? The flows of money. And maybe it's credit specifically. Maybe it is something else, right? Spending your money. Do you need to figure out how to have a better spending plan? Are you just overspending? And the last one with growing and investing. Do you not have a savings or an investment plan of any kind? Because this way, now guess what you can do? You can go and look for that information. Now, I'm going to be doing other videos. And if you have specific questions, please reach out so that I can help you by creating content that's going to be valuable for where you're at. Okay. Half the battle is always going to be, can you figure things out? And can you even get the help that you need because you can communicate it properly? There's nothing more frustrating than going to a licensed, so hear me out. If you're going to get help with any of these pieces, you need to go to somebody who is licensed or accredited or certified, especially as it relates to giving you specific recommendations around investing. Do not follow people. So this is what I'm not going to ever give you a specific recommendation for one singular strategy, because that's not okay. So if somebody asks you this, so this is a bonus. I don't know who this is for. If you're on here and you're like, oh gosh, I just went to somebody and I paid this money, or I was thinking about doing this, please don't do that. Okay. Please don't do that. At least not right off the bat. Here's what I want you to do, because this is why I'm so adamant about giving information. And if you need help, book a free call, like no holds barred. I have nothing to sell related to this. Okay. Because I know the kind of hot water that you can get into if you are not licensed and you're giving specific recommendations. That is highly, highly hot water territory. Okay. Because the world of money is highly regulated. And that means that for most places in the world, if you got just a shyster came along and decided to steal your money, decided to give you advice that was not on the up and up, you can file a complaint. You can actually not only file police charges, but you can file a complaint with usually the securities regulator of your country. Because if somebody needs to give investment advice in particular, they must be licensed. If they're selling you a fund of any kind, a hedge fund, a mutual fund, an index fund, like anything like that, a specific security that's regulated, they must be licensed. They cannot give you advice around insurance products or specific financial products without being licensed of some kind. Okay? So I say this because so many people just think, I paid off all my student loan debt and now I'm just going to help you do the same. Okay. I mean, that's up to you. But I want you to have the knowledge so that you can be wise in your decisions, to be able to filter out the noise, because there's a lot of people out here that don't always know the full story of what they're trying to do and don't have the background and can get themselves into a lot of hot water and don't even realize this. Okay. That's more the issue. So if you're going to somebody right now and you ask them, what should I invest in? What should I do with my money? And they do not ask you critical questions, and maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow, the critical questions that, an actual real financial person should be asking you before they give you any sort of advice, you need to run. You need to run, because they are just after your money, especially if they're being compensated by you paying them in any shape, like any sort of way for the recommendation, right? If their compensation is directly connected to what they're recommending, run. If they don't disclose that, run. If you have a weird feeling in your gut, run. Trust it. Okay. Women are highly intuitive. You need to trust that small, still voice that's God speaking to you, going, knock, 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 sister. Like, you're going to get yourself in hot water if you follow their advice. Just because you lack the skills and the knowledge today doesn't mean that you will always lack the skills and the knowledge and the experience, because you're going to start where you are. You're going to keep growing as you go along. And if you find somebody that is aligned to you, who is also licensed to help you to do certain things, they may not be able to do all of it. That's okay, right? But if they can help you to do certain pieces and get you going, that's really what is the most important. So any insurance products, any investment products that are regulated, you must go through a licensed advisor, or you do it on your own through like a Robinhood or a discount brokerage or whatever. And guess what happens when you sign up to those types of products, the apps or the website? There's a disclaimer saying you take full responsibility, because you know that you're not getting any investment advice. Okay. That's their cover your butt, because they know the risk that if you lost money and you could come back and slap a lawsuit on them, they'd be in deep doo-doo. And so when you take responsibility, because you've said, I have the knowledge and the experience to manage my money, and you're chasing after a stock tip or a whatever tip it is that somebody has given you, because they know nothing about your background, your experience, your knowledge, your risk tolerance, like nothing, the things that we're going to go into tomorrow. And all of a sudden they're giving you a blanket recommendation and you accept that, that's foolishness. That's foolishness. That would be like you, ladies, come on, walking into a store and saying, hey, do you have that dress? Like, I want that dress that's on the mannequin in the front. You would think that the store attendant is simple, right? Not simple in a good way, but simple. If they just turned around and went to check and didn't even ask you, what size are you? Right? Like the basic questions. So sometimes we don't know what the basic questions are because we don't have the language of money. And that's why I'm doing this. Make sense? So if somebody doesn't ask you more questions, and if you ask, What should I invest in? What should I do with my money? And they just start telling you information, you need to run. When I see people say everybody should be invested in an index fund, should they? No. Historically, it's done extremely well, right? Historically, the vast majority of people would be well served by investing in an index fund. But is it appropriate for you? I don't know. I would never say that. I wouldn't, because it would get me in a lot of trouble, right? And this is why, I mean, Kim Kardashian got a huge fine in an area where it's actually unregulated with crypto because of the influence that she has. Number one, she didn't disclose that it was an ad. But number two, she also was giving investment advice about telling people to invest in a crypto vehicle, a crypto investment vehicle, and people did. So please don't follow just random advice because it sounds good, because it looks good on paper, and because you're afraid of missing out. That is, again, bonus. That's not how we manage our money. And as women, we often do rely on referrals and recommendations. It's why the types of businesses that we build are a lot community-based, right? A lot of the MLM and direct sales business, network marketing, social selling has boomed because of women. This is how women like to interact with each other. It's the type of relationships we like to build. It's the way that we like to learn. It's the way that we like to share and disseminate information. So these are things that culturally, societally, genderally, that we are hardwired for, right? So I share all of this because of my experience and because I know what it's like as a woman to operate in this world of money, to navigate and to feel like maybe I should know better, right? I should know better by the time I'm 20. I should know how to operate a bank account. I should know better by the time I'm 30. I should be able to manage my money appropriately. I shouldn't have all this credit card debt. I should be able to pay down my student loan. I make a lot of money. By the time I'm 40, I should have some kind of savings, shouldn't I? Right? All of these things that we come to the table with that are preconceived notions, it's not reflective of your possibility and your potential. And I want you to stop judging yourself for the mistakes or the decisions that you have done in the past simply because you didn't have enough knowledge. That's why we're doing this. I say we as in you and me. Okay. So with all that being said, you have your marching orders, you have homework from today's video. If this calls to you in any way, shape, or form, if you know that this could help a woman that you know, love, and adore, then please make sure that you tag them below, share this out, because I'm on a mission to help at least 1 million people, mostly women. But I want to help create more female millionaires. That's the type of work that I do on the sales side. But more importantly, you can't become a millionaire if you don't know how to manage your money, because it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep and grow and have that money continue to grow, right? That's how we create generational wealth. So that was a whole thing. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for sticking around to the very end, because I know this was longer than I was actually anticipating. I clearly had more to say than I thought. Again, if you need help, my gift to you, book a call, okay? Book a call. The link is somewhere in this, close to this video. You'll see it. Book it. Please let me know if you have questions. You can either comment or send me via email or DM on any social media platform, info@susanmcveigh.com. And I'm more than happy to create more videos on the topics that are going to be the most helpful for you. So I hope this was helpful, and we will talk to you again very soon. See you tomorrow.